welcome to the Weekenders. This is the show where we talk about the biggest football games of the weekend. And man, we just saw a big one last night. What's up? I'm Max, joined by Bobby and Lexi. Lexi, I'm just gonna let you take it away, man. How do you feel? Your Wolverines pulled it off. We've been hyping you guys up all year, and you did it. Jim Harbaugh
Yes.
finally delivered.
God, he finally got over the hump. It was the Ohio State hump for so long, and it was the playoff hump, and he just kind of skipped and went right to the natty. So it is life's sweet. Life's good. I'm on cloud nine. It still feels surreal. I don't think it's really like hit in until I keep seeing more posts. I'm like, oh yeah, this is legit. No, but it was incredible. No better feeling.
We've come a long way from those early days at locker room, green room, where we all kind of met, where Harbaugh was like on the hot seat, on the verge of getting fired. It felt like in that 2020 year, and look, 3 years later, he's a national champion at his alma mater. So pretty unreal stuff.
It's crazy. And I didn't give up on him. I'll say this. Like, I really didn't. I said, like, after 2020, I'm like, all right, you got to get your shit together. If not, it's got to be done. And, man, he just rode off into the sunset. So,
Do we think he's gone?
I don't think so. And I've got some pretty good people, like, with some inside stuff that has just said that it might be a package deal where they both come back. So, if that happens, let's run it back for number 2. Or back to back.
They both being Harbaugh and who?
Sorry, JJ.
Okay. That's
Yeah,
probably smart for him.
Yeah, and I just think too, with if Jim leaves, he would probably leave. I wouldn't see him really staying if Jim didn't. So I don't know, but we'll see.
I think this is a tough year for that debate because there are so many things. There are so many factors, right? You have to factor in, okay, if he stays, is the NCAA going to look into the situation that they're more, and is he going to have to go through any more sanctions or whatever? Like, that could be annoying. You've also got in the NFL where, he sort of left some meat on the bone, so to speak, by not winning the Super Bowl. Like, there are so many great opportunities in the NFL right now. You think of possibly the jobs that are already open, right? The Chargers would be a fantastic job for any head coach, much less a Jim Harbaugh, because you already have the quarterback there. All you have to do is worry about building the rest of the team, and we know how good of a team builder Jim Harbaugh is. You also possibly could have the Patriots job. You could have you have so many. We who knows if the Cowboys lose this weekend, like the Cowboys job could be open. Like I think this is there's good. I see the argument for both sides, but this is a really, really, really good year to go to the NFL if you are going to go.
Yeah.
And I could see it both ways, right? Like you just said, Lexi, their package deal, McCarthy and Harbaugh coming back to Michigan, or they could be a package deal on the way out, and McCarthy could be, heavily sought after for whatever team Jim Harbaugh goes to, So it's gonna be interesting, man. This next couple of months, in the NFL and in college football will be crazy. We've already seen some crazy things happening in the coaching cycle for the NFL. So, yeah.
And now you said Patriots, and I was like, the Vrabel might go to the Patriots. I don't know. I could kind of see that happening.
It's the dumbest. I don't get the Titans that they're thinking.
I can't believe it. I can't. But we'll get into it, I guess. But
for sure, yeah, we have a whole NFL have to get into for that. But
yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I could definitely see it where run it back one more year, see where you're going here. I know it's going to be. I mean, a lot of guys leaving. You would imagine Corum's gone. You would imagine Donovan Edwards is gone to the league. Both running backs, as we all know, that's a position where your time frame. You only have so many years, to burn. So it's clearly time for both of them to hit the league. And I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see what Michigan looks like next year. What what happens with Harbaugh, what that program's future is after this kind of golden era has seemingly wrapped. But hey, you never know. As
Well,
Harbaugh's been saying, now's not the time to talk about the future. Gotta live in the moment.
absolutely.
Absolutely.
Let's pretend like Harbaugh and McCarthy come back next year. Considering 12-team playoff, now we're got some teams in some new conferences. You know what guys are leaving and staying at their respective schools. What team do you think, or you could maybe, if you can't name one, maybe two or three. What teams are in the best position to win the championship next year, based on where they are right now?
I mean, well, if JJ and Harbaugh come back, that defense is still going to be elite. That defensive line, there's a lot of the same guys coming back. Offensive line too. I know we lose like a little bit of our secondary. We still got Will Johnson, but Michigan's got a pretty good deal. I think Alabama is going to be a little more poised next year. I think Jalen Milroe is going to um, be a little more polished and go off. I'm kind of glad that we faced him in his first year or whatever. But and then Texas, I think Texas is set up, with especially the recruiting class and everything, that they've got a lot of weapons. So we'll see like what happens to their QB. But yeah, those are the three off the top of my head.
Yeah, I gotta say straight up, I have no idea. This is a different era of college football we're about to enter into. The sport's entirely different. 12 teams, anything can happen. And as we've seen from this season, the parity in college football, the playing field has been completely leveled. Um, I didn't feel like there was a one solid dominant team. Michigan was, I think, by far the best team in in the sport this year. But even then, like it wasn't like they were, really mopping the floor with the field. They were better, but it wasn't like years in the past where you had an Alabama or a Clemson just wiping the floor with everybody. And with with things in the SEC and the Big Ten getting interesting, I don't know. I'm interested to see it. You talk about Michigan and Texas; they have to play each other. Alabama has to go to Madison, Wisconsin for a non-conference, and oh yeah, they also have to play Oklahoma and Norman. And Texas, by the way, not only do you have to play Michigan, you gotta play Georgia as well. Oh, and by the way, the blue, Michigan, yeah, you still have Ohio State as well. Oh, but you also now have to go to Washington, the team you just beat, who, even though diminished, will be a little bit mad. So the amount of matchups we're about to have, the pitfalls along the way, it's going to be so intriguing to see how specifically the juggernauts in the Big Ten and the SEC, maneuver throughout what is a strange new world.
Yeah, I think the SEC teams and some of the new Big Ten kind of being a new conference now, like those are going to be some interesting battles in those conferences. For me, like I'm kind of looking at Clemson and Florida State. Mostly Florida State because I know Jordan Travis is gone. I hope you're gonna have to kind of rush your hopes in DJ, which is not the best bet. But you bring. I mean, Jared Verse is gonna leave. Keon Coleman, they're gonna miss a lot of players. But if you can do well in recruiting again this year, Mike Norvell, is gonna be there. Like they can be set up for an interesting year. They don't have to compete. They don't have the same schedule as the SEC teams will and the Big Ten teams will. I mean, Florida State, their toughest opponent next year is going to be Clemson. We'll see how Notre Dame looks, but I mean, they're going to have the type of schedule that can prompt them to win more games and have a higher seed in a 12-team playoff situation. So, Florida State obviously scorned by not being in the playoff this year. If they want to have a scorched earth type season next year and run it all the way to the championship, they definitely could.
Yeah. I'll say another name too. I think Ohio State might be able to go on a run. I think this is the put up or shut up year for Ryan Day. And if you look at their schedule, nothing going in the non-con, like Akron, Western Michigan, Marshall, blah. You do have to go to Eugene, Oregon to take on the Ducks. You do have to go to Penn State. And obviously Michigan. But all things considered, in a situation where everybody's schedule is hell, that's not bad out of the juggernauts. A team like, and you bring up Clemson and Florida State, and look, obviously a lock. One of those teams is going to make the college football playoff because ACC automatically gets in. They're going to breeze through what should be a pretty light field. But once you get to that 12 team, there's no escaping. There's no you can't just win one game and luck out. You got to win a couple. And Florida State with all those losses, Clemson with just how they've kind of been floundering around in this, inability to adapt to NIL and the portal. I don't know about the ACC's ability to truly compete. They'll have fancy records. They watered it down with Cal, Stanford, and SMU, a sentence that still boggles my mind. A lot has happened this season, but that's just been insane. So they'll have easy, lighter loads. And Louisville will be back. Jeff Brom in year 2. But I just don't see talent-wise I don't think they'll be able to compete on the field with some of these other teams.
Well, the funny thing, Bobby, is we'll get to see it because the first game of the year for Clemson is against Georgia in Atlanta. So if
there
Clemson
yes.
Oh my God. Next year is going to be so good. Oh,
I know. I'm so excited for the expansion. I'm so excited. We're going to see so much parity and new teams. It's going to be great.
Yeah, everyone likes to cry about, they're ruining college football. They're taking away all the tradition. And then you see these matchups and you're like, okay, no, this is actually pretty cool.
Well, it's like bowl games will matter again. Like more bowl games will matter. That's what we missed out on when it was like the BCS days. Like, it goes to CFP and then all those bowl games just didn't mean much. So it kind of brings it more back tradition, to be honest. So it's kind of funny they say that.
Yeah, I'll say this too. Once people see the first round playoff games on campus, and then you get that quarterfinal game at an NFL stadium, the first of potentially 3 if you want to win it, we're going to immediately want those second round games on campus. I'm just telling you, there's no way people can fill quarterfinal stadiums. It just won't happen. And those atmospheres are going to be absolutely disastrous in comparison to what will be an absolute event for a first round game. Hypothetically, I mean, just imagine the Big House in the winter hosting Alabama, something like that.
God.
Hosting
Please,
a Georgia.
God. I need it.
I mean, even like a Tennessee, like that is going to be so cool. And the teams who get that bye and don't get to host a home game are going to be so salty that they missed out on that there's no way it doesn't change.
So I'm surprised they wouldn't do a second round, too, because it's almost like a bummer to miss out on that.
I think part of it's bowl contracts that expire in 2026. So they just are like, yeah, okay, sure. We'll have 2 rounds in the bowls and reevaluate after 26. So we'll see.
Yeah. Well, it should be fun. We had a great end to this college football season, and it should be fun to ramp up to the next one. And with new excitement, with the new conferences makeup, with the new conference makeups, and looking forward to a 12-team playoff. So excited to get to that point. All right, we're turning page on college football now, and we get to the most exciting part of the NFL season, which is the playoffs, which kick off this weekend. Don't feel as exciting as this college football playoff that we had, which we got a lot of 3 good games out of, but should be a really packed weekend of football. Starting with the Saturday games and of course the Sunday ones as well. Okay, let's look at the playoff picture for folks listening, watching, whatever you're doing. This is how it shakes out. So on Sunday, we're gonna have, or let me start with Saturday. Sorry, we're gonna have the very first game as the 5 seed Cleveland Browns playing C.J. Stroud and the 4 seed Houston Texans. Jaguars fumble the bag and not a playoff team this year, which is insane. But that's what's going on. So that's Saturday on NBC 4:30. Your Browns and Texans should be a really good game. Um, then you got after that the Dolphins and Chiefs. We'll talk about that one a little bit later. Dolphins 6 seed, Chiefs 3rd seed. That's the night game on Peacock. Um, Sunday at 1, uh, we have the Steelers and Bills. Steelers, of course, a 7th seed. Another playoff run for Mike Tomlin. Another another not losing season for Mike Tomlin, I should say. Playing uh, against the Bills, who have won 5 straight. And then, of course, the Ravens have a bye. In the NFC, you have the Packers at the Cowboys. That is Sunday at 4:30 on Fox. You have the Rams at the Lions, which we'll talk about in a second. And that'll be the NBC Sunday night game. And then on Monday night on ESPN and ABC, you got the Eagles and against Baker and the Buccaneers. And of course, the Niners have the bye in the NFC. All right. So that is the schedule. Those are the playoff teams. Um, let's talk about the first kind of big game of the weekend to me, and that's the Rams at the Lions. Lions favored by 3 points. Over under is 51.5. Why is this such a big game, you ask? It's because we have a Matthew Stafford revenge game. So, my question to you all is Matthew Stafford going to have, you know, an all-time revenge game in Detroit where he got the Lions to the playoffs, but unfortunately was not able to get them a playoff win. Jared Goff will be looking to do that. I don't know. They probably haven't won in the playoffs since the '90s, I guess. I'm assuming. So Jared Goff trying to get the Lions over that hump.
91.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, Jared Goff will be trying to get the Lions over that hump against Stafford. Should be a really good game.
Yeah, everyone keeps saying the Stafford revenge game, but I kind of feel like it's a Goff revenge game, Like, they shipped Goff out because, him and McVay had whatever, and said, oh, whatever, we're shipping you over there. So I'm kind of excited for, like, Goff to kind of take that and, like, say, I want to beat the Rams, but it's going to be a matchup. I always say we live in a simulation, and this just proves it because Stafford coming back to Detroit for their first playoff game since the '90s, or home playoff game since the '90s is just insanity. So, but Stafford's going to be slinging the ball. We gotta be tightened up on secondary and defense, but it's going to be exciting.
Yeah, I mean, talk about a storyline. Incredible stuff. One of the greatest quarterbacks in Lions history, recent Lions history, anyways. Probably overall, I don't really know. Coming back to Ford Field for, a pretty massive matchup here. Right now, I'm kind of feeling like, the Lions, all the storyline, all of just, first playoff game since the '90s, since Barry Sanders was on the damn team. Like, that is just so unreal. They've been showing out not just at home all season, but on the road. That Honolulu Blue has been popping up all over the country. I don't see how this atmosphere, especially with the dome, gets really loud in the dome, how it doesn't just become so daunting for a road team to pull off a win. And I'm riding pretty big on the Lions here. I think Stafford will have a pretty damn good game, but ultimately, that's going to be a really hard environment to overcome.
I agree.
All right, so who do we think wins the game? I got the Lions. I think the Sam Laporta news kind of sucks because, especially in the playoffs, you want to be able to rely on, a pass catcher like that to be able to make things easier against a tough Rams defense. We know what the Rams receivers are capable of. I think the Rams have a better coach. I would say Stafford and Goff might be a wash at quarterback, if I'm being honest, just because Stafford is older and he has experience, but Goff is, still he has experience too. I mean, they both been to Super Bowls. Um, so yeah, I would say it's probably a watch quarterback, but McVay's got the edge at coach. But yeah, the Sam Laporta news does suck. But I'll take the Lions. That environment, I think, like Stafford obviously is comfortable there, but it's different when you're on the other team, and I can't imagine that this place will not be packed and full of energy. And you know, this city desperately needs this win, especially coming off of. And I know that everyone's not our Michigan fans. That there's Michigan State people there, but whatever. Like you got the energy from the Michigan win pouring into this game, and people want another victory for a Detroit team or Michigan team or however you want to put it. So I think the energy will obviously be on the Lions side. They'll be motivated. I think this is still a very very good football team. If we look at them, I think we're looking at them very differently if they win that Dallas game. So to me, I think this is still the better team, and I'm taking the Lions to win.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Lions as well. I'm kind of flip flopping on it because on one hand, I think the football gods are cruel, and they love punishing some states they love or cities they love punishing more than others. Detroit is unfortunately one of them, and this would be the most poetically horrible way for them to lose and have the season end. But at the same time, environment's going to be too loud. I think the Lions are the better team. And ultimately, I think that wins out over, I don't know, superstition. So we're going with the Lions.
Yeah, I've got the Lions here. Like you said, it's just like it feels like a destiny for them to at least just get a playoff win. With barely missing them last year, and ending Aaron Rodgers' hopes to like busting ass this whole season and just turning things around. And winning those games that we would typically lose. And this is a game we would typically lose. So I just feel like it's just on our side. I feel like these guys are locked in. They're bought into Campbell and what he's preaching, and it's just they control it. And I think that they aren't going to let Stafford go off. I think he's going to go off a little bit anyways, just because he is that good. But I think they're going to be prepared. So give me the Lions.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking forward to this game maybe the most. It should be a really fun one.
Yeah, Sunday night too. Oh boy.
Yeah, really good, really nice game for Sunday night. All right, on to another 3 versus 6 matchup, and that is the Miami Dolphins at the Chiefs. Now we saw this game in Germany a few weeks ago, and the Chiefs won that one. The Chiefs are favored by 4 in this matchup, over under 43.5. Are you annoyed that this game was on Peacock? I'm annoyed. Like, come on, man.
I'm not annoyed because I have Peacock. I am a proud Peacock subscriber. Shout out to the Premier League. I hold it most of the year just so I could watch my soccer. And every time a Peacock exclusive comes up, everyone gets all upset. Oh, I have to download Peacock. Stream East is going to get all the money, or not money because it's free and pirating. But no, just download Peacock is like $5.99. Come on, man! Like that's like a really decent price for a beer at like an expensive place downtown. You can download it for a month, watch some Office, watch whatever after you do it. Come on, man! It's not that bad. It's not that bad.
It's included in my cable subscription, so
exactly.
I have Peacock, but I don't have the premium. I just have the free version. So yeah, that's
get the ads.
Hopefully,
it's not the best streaming. I'll say that. It is not the best. I've had problems on there watching football, but it's whatever.
I might have to break down and get it because I really want to watch Brooklyn Nine-Nine. But I can't.
Oh yeah,
so yeah, but it's. I think the only allowing people to watch games on Prime Video or Peacock. I think it's a really bad deal for the NFL. I don't know if they're going to ever turn back from doing that. Probably not. Probably makes them a lot of money, but I think it's really dumb. Anyway,
you know who really should have the right to be mad about Peacock, though? I will say every single restaurant or bar worker who has TVs and will be bombarded with questions of why you don't have Peacock.
Yeah.
Oh, that is who I feel bad for. I feel bad for the people who have to deal with that because they will.
Yeah. Prayers for the Miami and Kansas City bar owners. Okay. Who do you trust more, Tua in the big game or the Chiefs wide receivers.
I'm gonna go with Tua. In this one for sure. This is the only time I'll say like for sure, but these wide receivers have just been awful all season. So I'll take Tua in that.
Yeah, I mean, Tua. Yeah, I mean, it's like I don't know who do I trust more having a gun, a dog or a baby? Neither. I guess the dog because it doesn't have thumbs, but I still don't feel happy about it. You know, so like that's my situation with Tua. I guess Tua.
The funny thing is, Mike McDaniel was getting questions about Tyreek Hill drops. So I'm like, I don't even know if I can trust this to the Dolphins wide receivers. Like now, like I think it's gonna. I wonder how many drops are gonna be in this game. I don't know, but yeah, I mean, uh, I don't like. When do you step up if you're the Chiefs wide receivers? Like when do you decide like, okay, now is the time that I'm gonna make plays for my team because Travis Kelsey is showing signs of age. Mahomes has to throw the ball to somebody. This is a team in the Dolphins that obviously is really good offensively. So you're hoping that your defense plays lights out because if this is a striking type of game, the Chiefs don't have the skill at receiver to play that type of game with Miami. So I'd be a little bit worried if I was Kansas City.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're KC, you should be very worried because you've kind of reached the point where it's not fixable. It is what it is, and unless out of nowhere they decide to be good, you're screwed. The season's over. Unless they find a way to figure out a problem that they have not been able to figure out in 18 damn weeks, it's done. And frankly, I think they are done. Sometimes you just need an off season to totally reset things. You can't stop the bleeding. I kind of think that's where they're at right now.
Um, all right, predictions. I do think um, the Chiefs pull it out. I'm trusting their defense. I'm trusting the defense to uh, cause Tua to turn the ball over, which we saw him do against the Bills a couple times. Put pressure on him, make things hard for him. Um, I'm hoping that the defense just keeps the Chiefs in the game because I don't trust the offense necessarily to be able to make plays. Now, if the Chiefs defense doesn't show up, then I'm gonna be wrong, and the Dolphins are gonna win this game. Um, but yeah, the Dolphins, I think, just and the Dolphins as a team and quarterback don't feel buttoned up enough to go into Kansas City and win a playoff game like this. Um, although they are one, the one of the best offensive teams in the NFL, like this is a team, the Chiefs, that I think can keep this game low scoring in cold weather. Um, and yeah, if the Chiefs can create turnovers, then they should have no problem winning this game.
Yeah, to me, we talk about the lack of weapons in Kansas City, but what Miami's dealing with right now on the injury front, Jalen Waddle, Raheem Mostert might not be goes for this one. And then you add in the cold weather factor. Arrowhead's been a fortress for most teams, or most teams can't beat them in Arrowhead unless you were Joe Burrow for like those 2 years. But ultimately, full strength, maybe they could pull it out, but I just don't. I don't think they have it right now. They're just too strapped with injuries. And cold weather is a bad place to test out injuries. I tell you what. So I think, despite all of that, Kansas City grits out a win. They find a way to get it done.
Yeah, they've this has not been a good season for them. Been very, uncharacteristic to like, situations that Patrick Mahomes had to deal with. But I just think they're going to be locked in. This is a team that does have, plenty of great players and, they're just going to come through and win this. I just don't trust Miami enough either. I know between the Tua and wide receivers, but when it comes down to it, team as a whole, with it being at Kansas City, I'm going to take them.
All right. Rapid fire picks. Let's get to the rest of the playoffs. Packers Cowboys. Mike McCarthy gets some revenge against the Packers who make the playoffs this year. With a similar team that they had last year, the difference is Jordan Love is the quarterback and not Aaron Rodgers. So kind of crazy to think about if you're a Packers fan that Jordan Love was able to take this team to the playoffs and Aaron Rodgers didn't do it last year. But here we are, and Jordan Love is going to go to Big D to face Dak and the Cowboys. Interesting matchup. Cowboys been dominant a lot of the year. They've kind of shown they can be beat in certain situations. Jordan Love surprised me, to be honest. I didn't think Jordan Love would play this well. He looks like he's the franchise quarterback for the Packers, so congrats to them for finding another guy. I don't think he's going to be as good as Favre or Rodgers, but being able to identify a guy that can at least be a starting quarterback in this league for third time in a row. Good for that organization, good for those fans. But yeah, we got Jordan Love going to Dallas. To me, I think the Cowboys win this game because they're the better team, but also because they have to. This is not the round you want to lose in. If you're Dallas, you want to obviously get, this is your playoff, your Super Bowl year or whatever. I think you got to win this game, take care of business, and get ready for the next week.
Yeah, my hating ass would love to pick the Packers here, but let's just be honest. They don't have it. Not against the Cowboys. Not at Jerry World. Look, if you had a guy with the mystique of Rodgers, they would find a way to win, like on the last second drive, because they always do. That classic meme of that one Packer fan, with the caption, they're celebrating with 30 seconds left. They don't know.
Oh,
But
God,
they're just the Packers and Jordan Love. They're just too no pun intended. They're just too green, and I think the Cowboys pull it off here. Experience over youth. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm kind of torn, only because it's going to be great for either one of these teams to lose because I hate both of them. But I want to match up with Dallas. I just wish it was like at Detroit, obviously. But then I would love to host a second playoff game and bring the Packers back or whatever. But I think that, like you said, the Packers just don't have enough. Cowboys are clicking at the right time and forming everything. I do think they're going to get this playoff win. I don't think they'll go much deeper than that, though. I'm not sure. But if we get a rematch, I'll be all for it. But yeah, give me Dallas.
All right. Next game, Eagles at Bucks. The Eagles are floundering, tumbling from their lofty spot as, a team that went to the Super Bowl last year and was hot to start the year. Remember those weeks back when I was like, hey, are we worried about the Eagles? And then they kept sort of having bad games, but winning. And then those bad games that they were winning turned to bad games that they're now losing. And so now they find themselves in the 5th seed, going to play a Buccaneers team who it's not looked pretty. It's not been great the whole time, but found ways to win. I still cannot believe that in the Panthers game, the score would have been 7-6 Panthers if DJ Chark had not decided to flip into the end zone before he actually got into the end zone and fumble the ball before he, whatever. That was like the Panther, like the Panthers are gonna Panther was like that was the defining moment of like the worst season of my entire life. Like we would have led the game if he. Like, oh God, sorry. Okay. Anyway, the Buccaneers have found themselves here because thankfully they play the Panthers on week 18, and they have to play the Eagles now, and the Eagles seem to be floundering. So this is a tough game to pick, to be honest with you. But I do have to pick the Eagles. To me, Baker should get all the credit in the world for having a great season. The Buccaneers have been solid. Their defense, Mike Evans and Godwin are having great years, but I think there's still just too much talent on that team. I know the defense of the Eagles is bad, so Baker might look like Tom Brady this weekend, but to me, I just think the Eagles just have the guys to make more plays. I'm giving Sirianni the edge at coach over Bowles. So yeah, give me the Eagles to beat the Buccaneers in Tampa Bay. Which, to be honest, Tampa Bay has never had a great home field advantage. Like it's a nice stadium. Raymond James looks really cool, but I've never felt like Tampa Bay was a hard place to play. I don't think it'll be hard for the Eagles to go down there and get a win.
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna go with the Bucks. I've doubted Baker Mayfield in big moments this season, like going up to Lambeau, and he's shown up. They aren't the most impressive team, and they just kind of find ways to win somehow. And this just feels like I don't know. I don't feel it from the Eagles right now. I feel like the league's kind of figured them out. The Bucks have played them already this year. Same situation back in week 3. They did lose 25-11. But ultimately, I don't know. I just feel like the book's kind of been out on them. The Eagles have been losing to some just bad teams. And I'm going to ride with the Bucks and Baker Mayfield here. I don't know. I do agree with your point about the home field advantage. I feel like we've seen a lot of Bucks teams, lose round 1 despite hosting. I mean, they have the past 2 years to the Cowboys and before that the Rams. So it happens.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna. I was wanting to believe in the Eagles like all year, and they just have totally collapsed. And I don't know if like the locker room is lost or Sirianni is just like losing the guys. I don't know what it is, but I don't trust that, especially not going in. And like you said, like Baker is gritty. He's like that guy that can, you know, when everyone doubts him, that's when he shines the most. So I like them here. Give me the Bucks.
Yeah, you guys might end up being right for sure. I think the Bucks definitely present a tough challenge. A couple of things to look out for. There are some injuries for the Eagles that to look out for. Darius Slay, Devontae Smith, DeAndre Swift could be unavailable. And then one crazy stat that I saw is the turnover differential between the Eagles and Buccaneers is like insane. Like the Buccaneers are +8. I mean, yeah, +8 turnover differential. The Eagles are -10. So that is not a good. The Buccaneers can win the turnover battle and they can win the game for sure. Okay, Browns at Texans, exciting matchup. Really good defense. Joe Flacco coming back. Joe Flacco has had a good career in the playoffs. I can't remember his record, but it's like I think it's 10-5. I want to say, good playoff record. Lots of experience coming back to face C.J. Stroud and the Texans. Texans have obviously had a great year. C.J. Stroud. Sorry about that, y'all.
It's all good.
C.J. Stroud has had a nice year as well. I like the Browns in this game because we're talking about a really great defense, an experienced quarterback, and a really good coach against their rookie coach and their rookie quarterback. And in the playoffs, you're going to want to take the former. So I'm taking the Browns to win big here.
I got to ride with the Texans. They've just been so lucky this year and have found ways to win. And just honestly, the fact that they won this division, the amount of things that needed to break their way that seemed completely unlikely that broke their way, they just kind of happened. And, I think the Browns are solid. I think Joe Flacco, what he's been doing has been kind of incredible, kind of insane. But I don't know. I like the Texans to get a scrappy win out of this one.
Yeah, I'm all on Texans. CJ Stroud has just been incredible this year. And I know I've said it over and over again. And him and Nico Collins, that is a connection that's going to end up being like even better than it is right now. Both two incredible talents, but they're hot. Texans are hot and they're playing great. I do, think the Browns will give it. It'll be a good game. It will be, but I think CJ is just going to be locked in, and I'll very much enjoy people that are in Ohio that have to like pick between their team or their college quarterback that's finally solidifying a legacy for Ohio State in the NFL.
Yeah, that is funny. I wonder because Columbus is in the middle of Ohio, so I wonder how many people in Columbus are Browns fans versus Bengals fans. Like, how do you decide what you are
Yeah,
if you're in Columbus? Like,
or like
that's
maybe since I know a lot of Cincinnati, like that's probably like
yeah.
that side, but
I guess it depends. I mean, the Bengals have been better, but I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. All right, last game: Steelers at Bills. Steelers scratched and clawed their way here. The news came out that there'll be no TJ Watt in this game, so that's an advantage for the Bills. And so, yeah, I'm taking Buffalo to win this game. They've been hot. This is in Buffalo. I don't trust any quarterback on the Steelers roster to win a playoff game on the road, much less in Buffalo. I know Pittsburgh's not cold weather, so that's not really an issue. But I mean, Buffalo's a tough place to play in this environment. Buffalo's really the team of destiny. They've been playing really well. Um, Josh Allen has not been perfect, but their defense has been solid, and so I think they're going to find a way to come out with this victory against the Steelers, who best player is not going to be on the field. So that's going to be a long day for Pittsburgh.
Yeah, Pittsburgh. I'm gonna absolutely just go ahead and contradict myself. They've been crazy lucky to get here. They've been gritty to get here, but on the road in Buffalo is not a very good place to be. That is not where you want to open up at. I can see them being feisty enough to make this a close game. I wouldn't want to bet on it, but you got to roll with the Bills here because they've also been feisty to get to this point too. They've had their backs against the wall all season and have found a way to get in this position. So we're gonna go with Buffalo here.
yeah, especially with no TJ Watt. I mean, I feel like that was like their saving grace in any kind of good game that this could have been. But the Bills at home, they're locked in. Josh Allen's ready to go. Give me the Bills.
All right, that was rapid fire. Those are the games. Should be exciting. All right, lock of the week. Last week we did double points for the national championship game. And two out of the three of us benefited from that. One of us did not. Lexi, of course, picked her Michigan Wolverines and got the win there. So her points went up by 4. So she's got 24. Bobby correctly picked the Michigan and Washington under 55.5. Nice pick. Michigan did their thing on defense, kept the Huskies in 1 touchdown. Um, so yeah, congrats to Bobby on that. And then I picked Washington plus 4.5, and that did not happen. So I lost. And so the scoreboard, Lexi still got a good lead with 24. Bobby's got 20. I'm at 15 and got a lot of work to do to catch up. But yeah, that's where we're at right now. All right, so for the playoffs, since we've only got a few games left, we're going to do something a little bit different. All the games count for 2 points, so there's no more like you can get 1 point if you pick another game that we didn't talk about in detail. So you can get 2 points for any game on the list. So feel free to go crazy with that. I'm going to keep my lock pretty simple. I feel like um, Chiefs to win. Not going to do spreads or anything like that. I need to catch up. Um, so I need to get my 2 points, and I'm going to take the Chiefs to win. That's just the most confident I feel about any team on the board. I feel like the Dolphins, between not trusting Tua, Patrick Mahomes, the experience, Andy Reid, Arrowhead, I think the Chiefs are the best bet to win from anybody. I could see, I could talk myself into anyone losing on the board between the Lions, the Rams, the Packers. I mean, anybody. Cowboys, why would you trust them? Even the Bills, I could see possibly slipping up if Josh Allen has a stinker. I just can't see the Chiefs losing. Um, it just would be very unlikely to me. So, yeah, I'm taking the Chiefs to pull it off.
I'm gonna go with the
I'm
Bills at
tempted.
home.
Oh yeah, go.
I think it's a relatively easy matchup for them with the Steelers. And look, home cooking in Buffalo, we know it gets hot. So, well, not literally because it's going to be freezing. But I predict that old Pinto Ron and Pizza Pete are going to be happy after this one. If you know, you know.
And I'm actually going to take the over in the Rams Lions game. It's 51.5, but I feel like both these offenses they're gonna be putting up some points. So give me that over.
All right, there we go. That's the last of the week. Lexi taking the Lions, Rams over. Bobby with the Bills, and I'm taking the Chiefs to win straight up in their game. Should be a good wild card weekend. We'll come back to break it down next week right here on the Weekenders. We'll see you then. Until then, enjoy your football. Congrats again to Michigan and all their fans. And yeah, we'll see you guys next time. Peace.